Good morning, family. It's time for your morning juice. Today we're reading from Joshua 9 and 10. Right after Israel started gaining victories, another challenge showed up. But this time, it wasn't a battle first, it was deception. The Gibeonites came pretending to be something they were not. They showed up with worn-out clothes, old bags, dry bread, damaged supplies. Everything about the story looked believable. And honestly, Joshua and the leaders did what most of us would do. They investigated. They looked things over. They examined the evidence. The story made perfect sense. The visuals lined up. Everything appeared legitimate. But then scripture says something that changes the entire situation. They did not inquire of the Lord. That's the mistake. Not because they were evil, not because they were careless. They simply moved without asking God. And that still happens today. Think about it. We do our research, we analyze, we trust appearances, we make emotional decisions, and a lot of times we move fast because something looks right. But they never pause long enough to ask, Lord, what are you saying about this? And one rushed decision created a covenant they could not undo. Because not every bad decision comes from rebellion. Think about that. Sometimes it comes from moving ahead without prayer. Now, as we shift into chapter 10, you're going to notice something huge. 5 kings rise up against Gibeon because they aligned themselves with Israel. And that part stood out to me because alignment changes opposition. The moment Gibeon connected itself to God's people, the attack came immediately. And honestly, sometimes people think opposition means they made the wrong move. But sometimes opposition shows up because you finally made the right one. Joshua immediately moves to defend them because he's honoring his vow. He's honoring that contract. And once again, God tells him, do not be afraid. That phrase keeps repeating because fear has a way of showing up every time responsibility increases. Then the battle becomes intense. And this is where you really see the difference between human effort and divine help. Scripture says God sent massive hailstones from heaven, and more enemies died from the hail than from Israel's sword. Think about that for a moment. God was fighting with them. The victory was never about strategy. It wasn't about manpower. It wasn't about skill. God was involved in the battle. Now, Joshua prays one of the boldest prayers in Scripture. When you read, you'll see God says that nothing happened like that before or after. This is what he prayed. Sun, stand still. And God answered him. Not because Joshua was trying to impress people, but because he was in line with God's purpose. And through both chapters, the lessons become very clear. Victories are won when God is consulted first. Not every situation needs more opinions. Not every decision needs more overthinking. Sometimes what's missing is prayer. Because you can examine every piece of evidence, you can still miss the truth if God is not leading you. Consult God first, family. Sip on that, and I'll talk with you tomorrow.